Yes.
Well,
Hello.
hello. Well, Jasmine Crockett has announced a run for Senate,
Uh-huh.
and I feel
Yeah,
like the white women are starting.
I saw you a video. You know how disconnected I am from like government stuff in general, but you maybe you understand why a little bit now. Imagine, yeah, white women
Well,
and the nerve. They've got it.
it,
They've always got the nerve, I'll tell you
and
that
I was
much.
just watching a video from Dear Dean Publishing on Instagram, who we've mentioned before on here. He's a black man with PhD, and he just makes amazing videos. I don't think I know what his PhD is in, but he was saying, do you remember how a few months ago all of the Democrats were coming out for Jasmine Crockett? Like, this is what we need. This is the fight, right? She's standing up to him. She's showing up with facts. And he's like, now that she's announced a run, are we going to
Uh-huh.
start hearing not her, not right now, for some reason?
For
And
some reason.
I had not posted a video for 4 minutes before, well, she voted for Israel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I saw
And I
that.
think I might lose my mind.
It's like, I liked what I saw in your video saying, like, she government like, there's this
Our government supports Israel, like,
that's
and
her job.
we have done since 1948.
It's like pointing at an executive in a corporation and being like, "She's a capitalist," or like
Well, it's like
it
when
is coming
they
from
try to
white women
invalidate me
specifically.
critiquing the military, they'll be like, "Oh, but you served for whatever bad government." Okay,
That's
but
what we're
that's why
that's
I understand it.
that's what I'm saying, right? And I remember and I liked it, what I did see say was like, "This is why Trump is president, because of people like you." Like, it's not and this is why it's so hard to speak out loud the things I think when white women are around, because it's not like they're technically wrong about the thing, but it's like, why are you talking? What? Yeah. And I remember coming up and talking about the analogy when Kamala was running for president of saying, yeah, there's one kitchen in town and it's been run by this terrible, terrible industry, and but everyone's going there and they're getting sick. I would rather a black woman be in charge over there, but that doesn't mean that the restaurant isn't still going to have problems and be whatever. I would just rather a black woman have anything in a place, but I don't think these are good places for black women because I can't even imagine. I can't even
I
no.
mean, yeah, like that's one of the reasons she has my respect. It's because she's so willing to just say what needs to be said and to kind of like dare him to come for her. Her ad was so amazing. Just like Donald Trump just talking about her. Can't.
Well, because she's black out loud too. She's doesn't participate in respectability politics that much. I mean,
Yeah.
but you have that's the whole thing. That's what
But
I think
that's
our
what
politics
I
is
think that's
respectability
what
politics.
so what's bothering me here is that it's giving purity test. Like, because how many of our politicians have voted for Israel, right?
Right.
Like, we are a major,
Mhm.
major partner of Israel, the United States government, right? I mean, one of the things I even said in my video was like, we all pay taxes. And so we all support, right? But like, the system is bad. The system is
Yep.
bad. But
It's
unless we are
about
going
who
to
and
all rise up and pull down the current system, who then? Who do we
well,
want in
right,
these
but
places?
until white women specifically can see that who they question and when they choose to speak and make their declarations of who's good and who's bad is really interesting, and why, and when does this come about? When are you talking about this? And also, what are you doing about police brutality? What are you doing about the things
Yep.
happening right here? Because I know she cares about that. Do you?
Yeah,
Because you
and
seem
like,
to care about things you
I
can't
don't
touch.
know. I'm still getting crap for saying that Graham Plattner shouldn't have a Senate seat because he had a Nazi tattoo for 18 years. And I got so much, well, can't people change? It's like you said, it's the when are they talking about it? The why. Because I can only remember us talking about Israel with two politicians right now. Kamala and Jasmine Crockett.
And I think it's interesting is because within the Black community, we critique these things, right? We critique Beyonce for being a capitalist. We can have nuance in things. White people do not. White people say yes or no based on this thing. You are good or bad based on this thing. You exist entirely based on how I feel about you. And that's bad. That's no good. And that's a white thing to even have to say to you, that it's bad or good. But what are you doing? This is how you're spending your energy. How is she spending her energy and you're spending your energy thinking about how you're bet you wouldn't do what she's doing? And I said this recently is like whiteness takes in information and they look at it with, well, I would do this, I wouldn't do this. Not, okay, this is happening. This is what this person is doing. That's it. Zoom out. What who cares about what you think? Whether it's valid or not. What's happening? What happens if you be quiet? I don't know. Like, and it's making you
Like,
be quiet about it. That's
and
what they
why
don't
wasn't
want.
anybody talking about Trump supporting Israel? It was only the Black woman. It was only the Black woman.
And who is doing it?
And it's
Because
not even like,
if it's a white woman, that matters. And that's why I say make it about your race.
and it's
If it's a
not
black
even the
woman,
thing. Yeah.
okay.
It's not even the, yeah, you're right. It's like, there's no ability to hold nuance. That's why I was like, no, it's giving purity tests. Like, it's not, let's have a larger discussion about how all of the politicians are forced in this crazy system that we have to make deals with each other, to trade for votes, and to make the best of bad systems. Instead, let's just be like, nope, not at all.
No, she bad. You be quiet about her having hope, right? Because what you're doing is saying, here's a positive thing that we could maybe do. And white women don't want to hear that right now. They want to hear, but I need to point someone in bad right now because I feel bad. People need to be the reason. And you giving me a black woman makes me feel uncomfortable. So I need to, it's that know your place thing too. It's like they have to be above her in some way. Why? I don't, it matters that you're white and you're talking, and you too, and you're using it positively, and they don't like that. And that's why they're speaking up too. It's why are they talking to whom and about what? And it's to you. And it's when you're talking about this and in this morally superior way. And how dare you as a white person ever feel morally superior because you don't like Israel? That's easy to not like. You don't have nothing. What are you doing about it? Condemning the people who do? Got it. Now what? Now what? And I think you did point out that like Zionists just throwing the word out, it gives racist to me, like the way people throw it at people, white people. Weaponize this word, white people. Um, and specifically, I felt this in the beginning of white people getting into it. They used to just say Jewish as a replacement for Zionist. That
So,
made me so
so
uncomfortable.
I heard, I
Obviously.
just found out from Lizzie, who's my talent manager, that the term Zionist comes from after World War II, when Russia wanted to go back to their program, pogroms against Jews and like persecuting Jews, but you couldn't say that because it was just after the Holocaust. So they started calling them Zionists. And so just like that's why it's giving racist, right? Because
And it's
that's where it comes
dehumanizing
from. That's where
another.
that
It's
term comes from. And I'm
right.
like,
And like,
to
why are you
me, it's
using
also
it?
very different. Like, is she a Zionist or was she making a deal for something that, like
Right. And
I
like,
I barely understand politics and I still know that there can be a huge difference between being a politician who like actively is supporting Israel and what they're doing over there and somebody that had to vote for something.
and it becomes, if as far as my understanding, it's a belief system and it can change. So what are you doing yelling at everybody? You white people. How it makes me heated. I get that. And as a black and Jewish woman talking to white women, and for you to get up here and be like, well, they're Zionist. And and now I do you know that you're white? You're a white person. You have no idea how problematic you are. And to have such a moral high ground and a hard line about something you happen to also not be able to do anything about because it's not happening in your neighborhood. That's so it I don't know how, but I mean I do know how, but I've also been looking at this angel tree stuff. Like as a Jewish person, like looking at angel tree, I don't know, the way white women speak about things that can't speak for themselves, but then give it but then they happen to be human, like people who can't speak for themselves. Do they want you doing this? Is this how they want you spending your time? Making sure that you are keeping a list? You? Because what are you doing about it then? I speak to my Jewish family, and I was so grateful when I went over there and they were not Zionists. I was so you don't know, but dang, I already got to battle a lot, right? Doing what I do and talking how I talk and all that stuff. And I'm like so grateful that they're not. Now, there's still problematic things because it uses the trauma of Jewish people and uses that as a weapon and stuff. So there's Jewish people who have misunderstanding of things and have been propagandized in a way. But then there's Christian Zionists who just say, yeah, all Jewish people should go live over there. And that's different. They should all get out of America and go to where I agree with those
Yeah.
are di those are
And it's
different,
because then they believe Jesus will come back and then
right?
they can
Like,
get
it's a
their
cult.
space travel.
If you think it's a cult, right? Exactly. If you think that, then how dare you talk about them and to them like this, especially if I am talking to you about how you're being racist every day. And you're like, well, this black woman who's trying to do her best within this system that's actively harming her every day, she has done the things she has to do for that job. Like, maybe, but shut up. Like, you're not using your time wisely. Like, the fact that you're speaking so confidently tells me so much. I don't care now. And now you got me rooting for the government? That is not what I'm here for. How dare you? Like they
Oh.
always end up turning it back around where now you got me out here like, no, the people in politics matter. I don't care about that stuff. I think it's made up.
They keep doing this to me with the military, or I'll be like, no, the military's not going to come take you over. Stop it. And they'll be like, whoa, blah, 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 bad stuff. Super critical books about the military. It is weird that y'all are making me like, quote unquote, defend them. But it's like, I don't know. It's the purity
Right?
politics of it all. I just can't.
And I'm so like, I think I have to come to terms with the fact that I'm a bit traumatized from white women doing this like performance. Like, I'm not accustomed. This, like, for the good of other people, I'm going to dehumanize you in the name of the worst things I can think of. The most like it's genocide. I'm going to use that as my moral high ground against you trying to do something about it. Also, they're actually in the system that could do something about it. And what do you want for her to do? Explode?
Right.
It feels like that's they just want her to not exist. And for you as a person to
And
shut up about it.
that's what I kind of responded with. I only put it on my TikTok because I didn't even want the Instagram drama, but I was just like, okay, so who? Who do you want? Who do you want that is so
Right.
pure that is also going to get in here and do the stuff? Because you know what I know? You know what I know? I know Donald Trump doesn't have blackmail on Jasmine Crockett.
And, like, don't you want Jasmine Crockett to be in there to support whoever this perfect person is that you're gonna get? Or do you
Yeah.
want that
Like,
person to only have to deal with it's just this misery,
it's
that's
so
what it is.
frustrating that, like, to be able to critique the system, you have to have been in the system. And then they try to disqualify the critique because you've been in the system.
And it gives similar to, like, when you would say, like, "She's just angry." Why? What happened? This disqualifying because you qualify. Because you have something to say, you shouldn't be listened to. And this, like, what are you doing? And you're not helping the people who are actually going through this thing you're talking about. We could probably have done a lot more with
Yeah.
listening to Black women a long time ago.
And there's also this, like, because because they do this to me with like, well, why should we listen to you when you joined a fascist government to go fight and go overseas and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, number one, you're listening to me as a 38-year-old. I signed up for the military when I was
Mm.
22. And let me tell you this huge secret. I did not know everything about the military and the government when I was 22. And where I'm going with this is like, how do you think she knew that when she ran for Congress, she was gonna she didn't know, right? So it's giving this very purity of like, you should have known everything bad you were gonna be asked to do in this job beforehand. And no one can do these jobs with this kind of purity, idealism that we're getting
Yeah.
to. And in the meantime, the Republicans are just walking in lockstep, doing all their
Right.
hatred.
The purity is for some. That's why I've always said, like, when are you questioning? Who are you questioning and why? What is the purpose? What is your goal? Because that purity testing only comes around when you don't want to do something. Just say, I don't wanna. Don't make it her. You have to find a reason that's in your goodness, which is why you don't wanna. And it's because she supports Israel. Okay, are you gonna send her materials that's to watch it? Like, what else are you what and what else? Like, and because if you don't, then who else is gonna do it? Are they not supporting? It's replacing one brick with another. I remember in Game of Thrones when they talked about the Iron Bank. They were like, "Oh, we must be able to talk to someone at the Iron Bank," and they're like, "There's no someone." I mean, they just replace that someone with another someone. It's one brick, and you replace it with another brick. And a black woman is not the same as every other brick, and that's why they don't want us in there. But then we come, and then they're like, "You're not like every." I don't know. They're like, "You're not a brick." No, I'm not a brick.
And,
I don't know where that went.
there's so many things here where I think it's like this is the closest we've been to America kind of being for everyone. And it really freaked people out. And like you said, like the black woman
Yeah.
brick doesn't fit. America, I forget who was talking about this, but they're like, America's only made to sort of work with this powerful elite class, right? And kind of like a cult, like it only works with an isolated perspective. And as soon
Mhm.
as you started opening things up and getting a non isolated perspective, they knew it was trouble, right? But also, I'm sure you saw yesterday that it came out that white men have actually been the greatest recipient of DEI.
Sure. Like,
College,
I didn't know that you didn't need to
college
I
is
didn't know that.
down.
Sure. Yeah.
College is down, college enrollment is down for white men, and, like, JD Vance is the example. Like, JD Vance got into Yale because he was a poor kid from Appalachia, and they wanted one of those to round out their applicants.
Exactly. See,
Like,
it's always been pick and choose when these things and it always has been.
but
I
as
saw
soon
that
as
up close in corporate America. I watched it happen. I watched the guy, like, become interesting for some, and even still, it was like, whatever, whatever. Like, white women were always the top recipients before that, and now it's white men. Shocking! You you know?
I would
Great.
just say, we thought it was white women, turns out it's
Well, and even when it
but,
is white women, it's
white
still
women
white
are a
men.
huge beneficiary also of
Yeah, the same.
DEI programs. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's just and so that perspective gets large and enlarged. What's the word I'm looking for? And it doesn't work anymore. Someone starts asking why Thomas Jefferson enslaved his own children, all of a sudden
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
uh-oh, and
Right, right. Yeah, and
it
that's
was
why they're so
funny because I actually believed this story in the army. Like I was told, so I came in through this college program, right? Which is basically like if you have a college degree, you can apply and get accepted to be an officer, right? The only hard and fast requirement is to have a college degree. And I was told that during my interview that like this was because the army otherwise like you're coming into the culture pretty much as a 17-year-old 18-year-old, right? You're enlisting right
Mhm.
out of high school or you're going into ROTC in college or West Point. So they wanted to get some people who had a little more outside perspective. right? And I actually believed that. And then I just got told, shut up and sit down, Lieutenant, forever, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, new people coming into a system ready to critique it are going to be silly. But at the same time, like, it doesn't take but 1 or 2 years in a totalizing system for you to lose that outside perspective completely. And now you're just in an echo chamber.
Well, especially when you've been primed and your family is I imagine, people whose family is military family, whatever, and, like, their whole community or they live in these towns where this is your identity. Sorry, but even in I don't think Black communities that really exist as much, right? I know, sure, there are Black,
Yeah.
like, whatever, but,
I mean,
there's
it's
and the honor and the, like but, like, it gives Christian, like, I don't know, the outsiders, I don't think feel this I never, I wasn't like, "Ooh," I feel like there's this sense that inside you think people on the outside are looking at you like, "Wish I could." No, I don't know. We're just looking. We're not admiring. I don't know. It makes my shoulders go to my ears. It's so uncomfortable. But and I understand where now it's like, but I wanna know why, how, what's the pattern? How do we interrupt it? And I feel like in whiteness and in white women, all you wanna do is commiserate, point to what it is, and then go, "Oh," and then anyone who goes, "So what are we gonna do about it?" You yell at them if they look like me. Especially if we're like, "All right, so who's cleaning up?" And they get real mad because they're like, "You're supposed to I thought you were here to clean." You want the mammy, there's no context where you're looking at Jasmine Crockett in the racial lens with your thing because they'll say, "I'm not racist, I just, hate what's going on in Palestine." Both of those things can be true. You could be both of those. You can be
yeah.
racist as you do that. You can weaponize your concern, which is one of my narratives of narcissisms, which I've decided to call it narcissisms and take race is one of them. But to just weaponize something so terrible as you do something to someone trying, and then you see yourself as and you're so smug. I think maybe that is also it, is this pat on the back and cheer with your friends because you're not that bad. I just don't.
Because
You could
that's
be
what
doing
to
so much
me
with
was
your voice and it's
so
not that.
just went through this.
And so this is
But
interesting.
it's just like, it's no,
Yeah,
not
I
even
posted a video recently. Yeah, I posted a video recently, which was a clip. It was a clip of a live where that's why I said maybe I am a little traumatized by the man versus bear thing, or me just trying and just seeing the enormous demonization that came with it. But like, so I was just talking about it. It's a clip of me saying, like, I didn't know how bad you were until I started talking to you guys. Made the joke, like, I'm just trying to help you people, whatever. It was funny. And Black people thought Cyrus, white women were going, so I don't know what we did this time, but I'm not surprised. Or like, I don't, and another person, I don't know what the context is here. If there's, but like, do you think this isn't a continuous all the time state of of being an issue with you? And I'm just saying, like, what do you mean context? I'm talking about you, period. This was an instance, but it was like, I don't know.
it's because it's
I did
like
say I was
all
disappointed.
the time. I only, like I know the exhausting perspective, but like I get this from men, right? Where like one dude will imply that I'm wrong about something, and then I'll just some did to me the other day, and he's like, "Why are you so mad at me?" And I was like, "Because it's the sparkling misogyny. It's all the time. It's every day, and I live with a male veteran with a beard, and he doesn't get it." And I know that the individual dude doesn't understand what they're doing, but it's
Right, right,
every day, all the time. Yes, just because you asked the question, because you
right.
wouldn't have asked that question.
And then they're like, "Whoa," and now you want me to feel what bad for you, you know? And it has been something I think it's like, because then I got back to this thing where I'm like, what am I doing? Where am I? Who? And I've had to slow down and go, who am I talking to? Why am I talking? Because I got turned around. I got turned about by whatever in the white that goes on with you guys that gets you guys all spun up and worried about how people are perceiving you because that's what I guess that's what you're doing to each other all the time. Policing and the purity testing and the policing and the purity testing. And so now you're doing it, but I can't believe it. You you're saying you acknowledge how terrible things are, how disgusting, how, and then you're policing how I feel about anything with the weight of children on your back. I don't know, like this, I'm a mother. What? And that's why I start getting weird about the hoods. And I'm like, you have to know your hood is white. And I mean that in all the ways, right? You have to know when your motherhood is white. When you start talking about how you're a mother and you can't, white, that's a white thing to do to me, at me. You don't know what black motherhood is like, but you're talking about motherhood. And you don't know why I would not be one. My journey is not your journey. Especially after I read all your weird purity books. We just completely different journey. Valid in both ways, but what messaging you receive, messaging I receive, not the same. So let's talk about that. But no, you want to tell me I'm a terrible person. Have you read the books? Because if anyone's going to start with the who pointing terrible fingers, wash yours and then point them back at yourself. You know, I'm not gonna do the washing. But the way your time and energy is spent matters. And it seems not to be put to good use. It just seems to be wasted. The ROI on how you're focusing on policing other people and polite policing, which is, I think, different from weaponized and weaponizing concern. I think I have them as different narratives of narcissists because the polite policing and the "I just asking a question." I know. I was there. I asked nicely. That's a white lady thing I see in these Karen videos where like, "I asked you nicely," as if, so it's a demand now? Because you asked nicely? You should have asked not nicely. I didn't tell you you had to ask me nicely. I didn't want to. But it's this thing that white women get to throw at you. I politely asked, as they're giving you this energy, I politely asked you to move. Who are you declaring niceness at, you know? I just, I, we, we're not having the same conversations that I thought we were having. Or we're not having conversations. White people are debating. And not well. They're not even good at that. Because they think debate is fight and colonize conversation and win and already come in with your side and over. Win over people. Win over the whatevers. Don't forget you're muted. You're muted.
And this is the, like, I feel like there's this not understanding of, like, we are here right now because of a very concerted effort, like we are in the end game of like a 40 to 50-year strategy on behalf of the Republicans and these, extremists that have owned it at this end
Mm.
to take America away and make it, only good for some elite. And
I would say it's probably I would say
longer
take it
than
back,
that. This
longer than
is
that and
very concerted.
return to its, make America great again. I think they're being honest in their opinions. Slavery.
Yeah.
Good.
So, right. And so this is like one of my questions too is like, how are we fixing it? Right.
Mhm.
Look, what's becoming pretty obvious is that since endgame is a chess term, the Republicans they don't know what they're doing right now.
It
Everyone
is.
kind of expected, yeah.
Wait,
When you're like,
end game is a chess term?
uh-huh.
I hate end games and chess. Sorry. I just
But
decided
like,
I hate it, actually, so go ahead,
you
keep saying.
know, there's this funny thing where like I'm not great at chess because I lose my head, right? And I like actually make bad moves. My
Oh my
husband,
god, Daniella. Sorry, go
no,
ahead. Yeah.
but I was educated on chess, right? Like I was kind of like formally educated on chess when I was in college on this chess team. And so sometimes we'll play with my husband and now my kid is getting into it, but he'll he'll be winning. He'll have all the power pieces, but he doesn't actually know how to finish the end game, right? Because that's an important like part of the skill to develop is like how to do the checkmates in the end.
My
So
God.
this is
Sorry.
kind of what's happening sort of with politics right now. It's like the Republicans don't know how to do all the things that they want to do. Everyone expected them to be better at wreaking havoc. But the
They
Democrat
they do better when
but
they're the underdog
but
and they get to
but on
complain.
the other side, what are we going to do about it? Right? Like they're failing. So what is the America we imagine? And as
People
they've been saying
imagination.
for 2 years now, who are the leaders? Because as far as I can tell, Jasmine Crockett is one of the only leaders I can identify on the other side who has been consistently standing up to the tyrant and stating facts and speaking out for the people and like didn't change her tune at all when he got elected.
Yeah, but
So like
white
what
women. It's white women, you know? It's why it's very clear. Like, that was a clear thing, right? You know, that is a Jasmine Crockett is a sturdy choice in terms of remember we talked about friend groups versus a group of friends and who is accountable to what. Jasmine Crockett is clearly accountable to the Black community. She must be. We are her, she is, you know. So there's only so much meddling around in the BS that she can. I see her doing. Now I could be wrong. I just know that's an easy choice for me. She stick to her loud blackness. She don't. That's a choice that tells me a lot. Right? Done. Now, if someone doesn't see that as a strength, that's what white women need to talk about. That because that is 1 plus 1 equals 2, and you come in and going, I don't know. That whatever makes men mansplain, white women white splain, that whatever that is, that makes it's delusion. And when you talk about end games and stuff, it's like, no, they need the persecution. They need to feel they don't care about winning. Win what? They like playing Monopoly and watching you suffer. They don't want the game to end. They like watching you suffer. They like winning. It's an
that's
action
true.
winning. They like seeking it.
There's
They don't want
also
to be
it's
finished.
also a bad analogy because there's not going to be one move here and then
They're
it's
people.
over. And
But
that's how
in
people
chess, that's why
act.
chess is stupid. I don't like chess.
And
Like
that's how people
your
act and be like,
pawns.
"Oh, are we gonna survive this?" No, I think 360 million people are gonna spontaneously combust. Like,
What do they mean? I think that's cult identification with America to me. Like you have to be okay with the idea that America is a concept and an organization and a business that could dissolve
yeah.
and nothing would actually change.
And that's
Like
why
we would just agree
it's
different
giving
things.
that's why it's giving rapture psychology because it is very just
Yeah.
one thing's gonna happen and it's all gonna be over. And to me, it's just been very
What?
privileged from the beginning of like so many white Americans have never imagined having a president in the office that just didn't care
Right.
and was just going to be outwardly greedy and, kleptocratic.
Right. They didn't see what was going on clearly. They're following believing in a system more than what you are seeing and the fact that people are people. They don't embody positions once they take office. They are still people. That man named whatever is still that man named whatever, just because he's officer, senator, whatever now. But see, that's because you don't see the accountability because they're just doing their job. Black people don't act like that. But also, when we get fired from a job, it's not as devastating or identity, being fired. Yeah, because I acted like the job was a job. There's just less. That's that anti-identification, which is another narrative. And also romanticizing the ends is another narrative because looking for the end, are we going to survive? Da, da, da. Now you're doing the same thing. You're in the game going, I'm just maybe I can get out. You're gambling on the monopoly. Get up from the table. Walk out the house. Look around. Has anything changed? You just lost at Monopoly by walking away. What happened? It's fine. You were going to lose anyway. It's a terrible game. The game was meant as a cautionary tale. You took, we're not, okay, I'm not going to do it again. But someone had even said that the fairy tales were created as cautionary tales. That's another tale. There's tattle tales, cautionary tales, fairy tales. dragon tails. But like,
Mermaid
we
tails with
put
white
them.
women.
Oh, remember, oh, then there's those tails. I say bail on the tail, chasing your tail. There's a whole bunch of tails going on that we could stop. We could just open our walk outside, live our lives. But I've also said, like, it's this whole dream thing, this American dream. If your dreams are coming true, you're probably asleep, and that's something you're gonna wake up. That's what I think happens at the end. I think that's America survives. I mean, doesn't survive when the dream is over. You woke up from the American dream. Wake up. Slavery. Remember? That just happened. It literally just happened. You can't be like, it was so long ago. That's like when a guy cheats on you and it's like, well, it was 3 months ago. I used to do it every week, and it's been 3 months since I've cheated. Like, you wouldn't that and so y'all with the progress and it's so frustrating because it's like, it's the belief system. It's that you believed the system was built for you because it was, quote unquote, but it was built for itself. You're still muted, by the way. But yeah, it was built for you, but only like for you, as in for you to do the work for us. Like you said with the elite group at the top, it was always built by the people who built it, who founded it. Founded. It's not even, they don't, like I said, it's not even a sentence that makes sense. They said, we found this land. We founded this company. They didn't even come up with a good word.
We found it. We found it.
We founded it, the founders.
Yeah, the exceptionalism is something else. And in cults, I will never forget reading, and it was in the one cult book that I know of, written by a Black cult expert, Ted Patrick. And he says, in the 70s, he says, it occurs to me that of all the cults I have seen, women and children are always a slave class or servant class.
Mm,
And like, as soon as I read that, I was like, yeah, of course. But the women that think that it benefits them, right? And always, when I explain this to people, it's like, well, part of it is because women are so overworked in patriarchal society and are already a servant class in patriarchal society and are isolated from each other. So it feels great to stand around in the kitchen and all be working together. And you're working together and you're focusing on how great it feels to be working together, and you don't realize how much work you're doing. And that,
mm,
all of the men are sitting down there waiting for you to serve them.
yeah, if you're doing that part, if you are communing and sit in the kitchen working together, maybe you will, though. I don't think that that's what's happening, though. I don't think white women, like you said, they're isolated from each other, and when they talk, they're not really talking. I realize that all of that small talk and all the agreeing and having, like I said, friend group and maintaining the friend group and feeling like stuck in a even toxic system there where you're surveilling each other a little bit. Or like you don't want to be isolated from the kitchen thing because that's the only time you guys get together. And if one of the people who hosts it isn't, you gotta, like, if it's so restricted that way, where that's the only time you get to be in
Yeah,
community,
and that's a big part of it is they let the women get together once in a while so that they have that thing to look forward to.
right? Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, but it's like forced fun. Or and it's similar with the angel tree thing. So I'm like I keep coming back to it just because. So if people don't know, I don't know if everyone just knows what an angel tree is, but it's like you go to the store. I guess Walmart does them, and it's a tree with people who can't afford their own Christmas. So you can pick a child off the tree and then get the things on the list. And it seems like every year, just about online, there's debacle. There's like people aren't grateful, they didn't get what was, or people pick it off and make a, content creators make a performance out of going and buying this stuff. I'm gonna give these kids Christmas, this get, and I just watched the kind of like compilations of the TikTok conversation around it as a non-Christian. I'm just like, wait, this was Christmas the whole time for you guys? It was just the gifts? I knew you came back with gifts, but it seems like that's the whole thing, and it's like, we're gonna build this memory for them, and like, how dare you that someone threw out one of the kids' angel tree things, and so someone found it in the garbage and said, "Someone picked it up, and now this kid is gonna," and then and they're getting emotional about someone not getting a Christmas, or I want to get 2 kids. I don't know. It just the bo- is it Christmas if no gifts exist? Like if there literally is just the boxes of the stuff. And also, by the way, Jesus' birthday, but not technically his birthday, but like it was his birthday. So Santa lists good and bad gifts, deserves a Christmas every year. The stress. I remember participating in Christmas in like high school, and I felt very I was a group of girls that like allowed me to be friends with them. And they were like, "Who's getting what?" And they were like, "Are you getting me stuff?" I was like, "Yes." And then it was very intense. I don't know. It just was all buying things at Bath and Body Works mostly. But
Yeah, I have such a issues with American gift giving culture. I
uh,
mean, it
not to
like the
get into
first
the
time
thank you notes.
I was at an American Christmas, I was just like, because I thought it was like a gift. I thought they would get like I thought you'd get a gift,
That's
and
what
it was
I.
just
That's how.
boxes.
Yeah.
And no, I mean, I was at it was like the bad guy I married, right? But it was like, so it was like a 20-year-old kid and his two parents, and there was like 70 things, and I just didn't even know how to like comprehend.
Like, and the performance, because I remember my brother said was dating into a family that was like, "Now sit down and everyone opens and we watch everyone open the gift." Oh, that sounds terrible. That sounds terrible. And, like, the gratitude performance, and, like, I complain about gift horse stuff and don't look a gift horse in the mouth. Don't tell me what to do, you know? Because now we all have to pretend that this gift isn't really inconsiderate. You all know I don't like chocolate. Now this is a big box of fancy European chocolates, and I'm supposed to go, "Thank you." That was a corporate trauma thing. And I was like, right at the end, "Why are you sending me pictures of you and your kids either? Like, that's weird." Christmas, why do I don't I think that you guys should stop it. But, like, the energy
I
spent
saw a
on
thread
that
last
is
year.
crazy.
I saw a thread last year. It was like, so now it's January, the time I have to throw a bunch of pictures of people's children into the trash can.
I'm a bad person, right? Now I'm a bad person because 'cause I'm looking at these little kids I'll never meet, don't want to, and now I feel bad because I don't care about I actually hate your dad a little bit. Your dad's been a piece of to me. I don't, sorry, garbage.
It's
He gave me
so
chocolates. Why'd he give me chocolates? Everyone knows I wanna like chocolate.
And here's the thing, like, I actually think it ruins gift giving, Like, I think one of the
1000%.
greatest thing is getting presents. The only thing I like better than getting presents is giving presents, okay? So, like, both of these things are amazing for me. But I don't like the trading. Why are we just trading presents of equal? There's all these rules, right? Like if
Yeah.
I get you a present and then you get me a present that's 3 times as expensive, somehow you are supposed to feel bad. But then I'm also supposed to feel bad. And so we're actually I literally in college, I asked my girlfriends, I was like, can we just stop trading around the same $50 Victoria's Secret
Right?
gift
Yes,
card for birthdays? Like, I don't I
it
am the
doesn't.
type of person that if I see something and it makes me think of you, I wanna buy it and send it to you.
We did talk about this because I remember you telling me about the stone penis or something that
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
we talked about because I also remember, like, there's the so someone recently I went on live to ask the white people because I said this is a very white people thing. One of my neighbors down the hall gifted Fran an advent calendar from her dog, and I was like, "Well, that's" 'cause, we have to walk past her thing to go to the elevator. So I was like, "Oh, this is great." And then maybe, like, 2 minutes later, I'm freaking out. 'Cause I'm like, "What do I do now?" I don't know what to do now because, now I'm a terrible person because I'm not gonna respond appropriately. I don't have I'm not g I have a lot of thank you card, like, demand avoidance stuff where it's like, I'm supposed to batch out gratitude in this weird word format and, like, pretend this is a natural thing for me to do. Not good at it. And so I went live, and this was, like, I think around my birthday time because my birthday soon passed, and it was just nice to realize, like, this is not just me. A lot of us have this presence, and I have it up here, like this demand for gratitude because it's rule bound, it's obligatory. It was very cute until I started getting all the like trauma from back when in my ear of like, well, they're gonna hate you now
They're
because you're
at you
not
too
gonna,
now.
yeah, you're not gonna respond appropriately, and they're gonna be like, "That's that bitch. You didn't send anything back from my dog to and I don't even kn," and they're not thinking that, right? That's a me thing, but that's whiteness. That's like that performance and narcissism stuff of like, there are grand gestures are good, period. Someone does a lot for you, that is good. Despite the fact, like, especially with men, I just found this like, it wasn't even an analogy, it was real. They would build stuff wrong. And now I am an asshole if I don't even want you to do it because you won't follow the instructions. And I got a wonky chair that doesn't go up and down because you were just like, it's fine.
I
No,
discovered this when I was trying to build my brand in like the entrepreneurship world. And like, someone offers to make you a website, but then it's like, but then you can't be like, I don't like this. I don't want this. When are you going to be done? And
right.
as soon as I could, I got to the point where I was like, no, I'll just pay some, I will just pay you to do it. And that doesn't take away from it. I think it just makes it easier for us to get what we want, and have like,
And like clear. Oh, you're not expecting these unspoken things from me, like gratitude that I don't feel. I'm sorry. I hate that. But it's like that's what it's imposed on women all the time. I'm always saying, I mean, out in the world, I say thank you for things I'm not thankful for. You're so beautiful, thank you. You know, your hair is just whatever, But inside, I just like sharing online anyway. That like this is how that makes me feel. And then for women to come and be like, "How dare you feel that way?" I'm always shocked, and that's why I think I get so mad at white women because I'm just like, "What? You know
it's
exactly
a white, and it's a white
what I'm
woman
talking
thing
about."
too. Oh my God. So now we're going to get to the Swiftianity of it all because people think like white women think they get to decide whether it's valid for me to
Yes.
have the conversation.
Mhm.
I'm like, what? And they'll usually say in the same phrase where they're telling me to shut up, they'll be like, oh, I was never a blah, 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 blah. So then this conversation's not for you. That's it. Scroll on. You don't, I don't. And obviously part of this is because I just didn't grow up here and get these rules, but I just don't understand why you think that you get like a say or to like weigh in on like, because again, it's the purity. It's like, it's like you're just supposed to be over it. You're just, oh my God, like, how could you still be talking about this?
No, so I
Sorry.
just like the accent.
That's the voice my
Sounds
kid
good.
does.
That's what it sounds like. Because it don't sound like me. It sounds a lot like that.
And it's that good or bad, you know, binary thing, right? Where it's like,
Mhm.
I I listened to this person's music for 20 years. I've been on several journeys since then. There's so much that I need to go through. Why can't you just get over it already? Like,
Why do they want you to be like, it's the weird but that's why I'm saying they're like colonizers. They just come into and go, "You should who are you talking to?" 'Cause it can't be, "I don't know you, internet stranger." And I used to say that all the time in the comment section. I would refer to them as internet stranger because I think white women forget that they are. They really do. I forgot how much that used to, and then rarely, but sometimes they would go, "You know what? Fair enough." Like, they forgot they don't know me.
I said this to someone. I said, okay, you random civilian on the internet.
They forget, and how could you, and that's white, and that's why I say, like, I've been realizing, like, I do think in black and white, and that's why I think it's weird that you guys, because 'cause I'm thinking in actual black and white because I'm looking because 'cause y'all are white, and you're real, and I'm clearly black, and so I'm thinking about those things when you come in with your whiteness. And so when everyone's like, "Don't think so black and white," I just think that's funny, like, that's gonna be a special or something I'm gonna do, just I'm a black
Someone
and white thinker.
did it on my live today where they were like, can we just leave the race card behind? And I was like, so did I stop being white for any part of this conversation? I don't think I did, which means no, I can't leave the sorry.
Still white.
No, I can't. I can't.
And I had to, I posted and took it down because, like I said, I had to separate myself from the space because even in it, right? So there's a creator had posted saying, you can't argue with like empirical evidence with your anecdotal evidence to be like, this happens, and you go, well, that's never happened to me. And now I'm supposed to negate it, right? And I had said, it reminds me of when talking about anything to do with race. And I realized white people, I'd be like, hey, white people touch my hair a lot, blah, 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 blah. And this is about race, obviously. And they'd be like, I don't think it's about race because people touch my hair and my hair is curly. One, white people touch your hair. And guess what? It's about their race. I didn't say this is about black people. I said this is about white people. But they don't hear that. They hear race, they hear things
Mm.
black. And because they're raceless, they're default and then racist black. And I'm saying it's a white people thing. And they're saying, no, we do it to every it's like or they do it to I don't know who you think I'm talking to. I'm talking, and so for you to say, well, it's happened to me and I'm white does not change anything that I said, by the way. But also, even if I'm never saying this only happens to black people. That's a weird if it I mean, only now I'm starting to realize certain things that only black people do, which is have real conversations. And, that's a start. Y'all just like talk at each other and say the things you're supposed to say and birthdays and horoscopes. I don't know. Like things that are just out here.
Yeah.
Nothing. I remember asking people, like, when's the last time you changed your mind about something? And you have a big one. Taylor Swift. That's huge. That's important. That's an important part of growth, and I don't think in whiteness ever is that something that people talk about. When did the last time you changed your mind about something? And it's like literally the opposite, the whole debate thing. It's the same thing where they're just like, "All right, stop talking about it now." But did they
Yeah,
tell
and
you to
there's
stop talking
also
about it when you liked her?
no, right? And there's also this that's the thing, right? It's like the purity of it all or the like why do you have to do it out loud? I'm like, first of all, I'm doing it out loud because I'm gonna sell 1,000 fucking deconstruction workbooks. That's the main reason I'm doing it out loud.
Mhm.
But also, like, because it's actually much deeper than I thought. And then I share stuff and then people reflect stuff back to me. And it's like, actually,
It's almost like
I act
conversations are good. It's almost like
built
having the conversations about things.
it's the goal. And people, I think, don't understand that. It's like I didn't figure it all out as soon as I said ew and walked away. And that's what people think about cults too, right? They're like, "Oh no, I was, but I'm not anymore." Brings us to the conversation I think about like rehabilitated people going into like black spaces and hurting people when it's like, well, you've left the ideology, but have you done the work? And I
Right.
just don't I'm embarrassed that it took me so long to get here. I'm embarrassed that I didn't listen earlier. There was one I was like, there was this huge red flag in 2015, a red flag that I should not have missed, which was her saying, "Nobody's gonna love you like me," which I already knew was an abusive, narcissistic thing to say. And my husband
Mhm.
literally said to me, "How are you gonna defend this one now?" Right? And the only thing I said was, "Well, I'm not. This one is bad, but everyone gets a bad song." And I just because I didn't want to. Like, I'm embarrassed of a lot of stuff. I'm not embarrassed that I'm pulling it apart right now. And it's weird to me that people think that.
Well, they don't
It's like
wanna see it for some
it's this sort of
reason.
purity that is demanded, like
Right, and they also yeah, and like I said, with corporate America, for me, it was like leaving corporate America wasn't just about I no longer work at this job. It was leaving the mindset that those are good jobs, that jobs matter a lot to who you are and your success is dependent on these, or that there's a bigger whatever. I'm still deconstructing some of that, the capital thing, or like what does success mean and getting higher than others and an MBA. What was that? You know? It's something. I learned stuff, but why did I do that? What was I looking for? And obviously just answers an easy I like a rule book too. I like a guideline, but I also am always okay with changing my mind. And that doesn't that's a huge difference in whiteness. And like I'm okay with going back and going, I don't know. I thought this was a good idea based on the information I had at that time.
Yeah.
I
And
wouldn't
then,
do it now, but up to
but
now is now.
there's a reason that a black woman is the one that said that, right? Didn't Angela Davis say, "We know better," and then
I
once
think
like,
so.
once we know better, we do better. We do the
Right.
best we can, and then once we know better, we do better.
I've
And
always
it's
said it's
like
like black women say, "You live and you learn," and white women say, "Live, laugh, love."
and
I'd rather live and
also
learn.
and also this, right? Like, if you just walk away from an ideology or from a thing that you used to believe without actually thinking about it, like, you don't actually walk away from it,
Right, you just
like,
bring
that
it to your next
doesn't
place.
actually start being there. And it occurs to me that, like, it is becomes impossible to look at something as black and white when you start digging into it, like, because
Yeah,
that's even it. I didn't know how to explain it before, but when the white women that do comment and they're like, "Oh, I was never into her," it has a very, like, "Oh, good, I was right." Right? Like, I was right.
right, right,
She was a bad guy, and now her colors are coming out. And that's true. All those things
right,
were
right, it's
true.
true!
But what is
Why
the
are you saying it?
reason that I was into her, right? Or even when people are like, "Yeah, she just appeals to white mediocrity." Okay, but why was I chasing that so hard? You know?
Yeah,
Like, to me, it got super, super deep. The
right,
first
being
time it
curious.
was like, "Why did you idealize this person?" And it immediately was like, I thought this was an alternate version of me, like a me that I could have been without the trauma.
Yeah,
And the more I find out about her real background, the more like, it makes sense to me.
you're
But
not
it's like
bad for that
another
either.
person wasn't going to have that situation because they didn't come from the same thing.
Right,
And it
and even that situation's made up. Like, it's not real, it's not real. It was designed to make you feel the way you felt. That's why it
and it even goes further into this, like, "Oh, so you're a racist?" And it's like, well, I mean, I supported this for 20 years. I didn't listen. I looked past a lot of red flags. Like, yeah, I probably did a bunch of things that were racist. While at the same time, I've been trying to have this other like, it's not a yes
no
or
one
no question.
black people don't go around asking that. "So you're racist?" Well, we're not waiting for you to tell us, one, and, like, it's not a gotcha. We don't want you to continue being if you are, our goal isn't that you announce what in the like, white people, stop. you know? And that's why I really think I don't know what I wanna do with it, but I have a do's and don'ts, and I was like, of the waiting room for white people before you enter these spaces. Between leaving your cult experience and joining a community, you need to sit in the waiting room, the "Why am I talking?" room, because you need to know you're white. It will happen to deal with whiteness in there. There will be mostly white women in there who have sat there before and are on their way out, but, have I remember I used to use this analogy of, like, it's got glass walls and you can kinda see through and hear the black people laughing and stuff, and you run, and you're like, "I wanna go where the fun is," but you run right into the glass wall. Now it's up to the other people in the waiting room to stop you,
Mhm.
what are you gonna do? Just let people keep running into that wall? Because 'Cause they're gonna keep doing it. I'm
And
telling you.
this
Wait,
brings
you
me,
sit with your pam
yeah. And so this brings me to the MAGA of it all and to, like, what do we do with the ex MAGAs?
Mhm.
So there there's been this conversation that I kind of have been drug into, which is, liberal white women are harming people, harming the black community by saying, like, let's forgive and forget.
What are you talking
And
about?
I think I have not been doing that at all. But there's a couple things here. It's like, first of all, I'm very consciously not trying to set myself up as a leader, and I don't think I'm the one to be leading right now, right? I just kind of wanted to be a popular academic, and I'm
Mhm.
trying to figure out now the responsibilities of having a big platform.
Yeah, but
Sorry.
leaders what a leader really is and what a white leader is, leaders are circumstantial. You lead by example all the time, you know? It's not
Yeah.
leading a I understand what you're saying in terms of, like, leading a movement, being the face of, revolution. We don't I don't think you should be speaking for all anything, but you can speak for angry white women. I think we would love to hear a specific conversation about white women getting us here, because unless you address it, it's not going to change,
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
look what happens
I
when
mean,
a black woman dies.
I've been talking with this about the gun situation. Like, I want us to get very, very clear on the fact that we're never getting all the guns out of America. Like, that is physically impossible. It's not going to happen. So, can we please have the conversation about why white men and white women keep raising school shooters? Like,
Yeah,
that's the
right,
conversation we need to have.
right.
Like, that's the culture we need to change, right? Because it is one demographic of America, young white men,
Yes,
that when bad stuff happens to them, takes guns and shoots up schools, right? Like,
exactly.
we need to get like super micro on this conversation. But with MAGA, okay, so with like, because some people even say like I am making it less serious by calling it a cult, or by somehow implying that because this is a cult, it means we don't hold people accountable for believing truly harmful things and like letting the fascists come to power. But my question is like, what's the process? And I think this waiting room thing that you're like these are the conversations that we need to have. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
what are we going to do? Are we going to execute 77 million people? No,
right,
right?
right,
Are we going to be able to kick them out or separate them out anyway? No. So like, what are we going to do? Like how do we, and I think it's like, how do we, the non-MAGA white people, like hang out in the waiting room and debrief all those people and make sure they're ready to go into the next one without hurting people?
right. Well, and I think it's by seeing them as people, and I don't think white people are doing that. I think they like having a bad guy, and well, a lot of them, not everybody, because you are seeing them as humans, and they like not seeing them as humans. And that's similar to if someone comes in, a black woman comes in and goes, "All right, I can try to get this together." You go, "Yeah, well, she's not." This desire to hold on to things the way they are, and but if people are serious, and I think there's a difference between referring to MAGA, right? Because even when people say MAGA, it's like, what are you even saying? I think people need to be more specific, but there's this tendency to refer to people as concepts, not cousins. Just like with black people, they
Mm.
would do, I like black people in general, and I treat black. The way people talk about people as concepts is so white, right? Not like when they say we and they don't really mean the same we and they that I've referred to with black people. We're talking about black people and white people. When white people talk about we and they're saying good people and bad people. Now that may mean black and white
Mm.
sometimes, and that's what people have to understand is that you're not being specific. When you say MAGA, you're saying people who you're saying, "Make America great again," people. What does that mean? Are they in a cult? Are they not in a cult? Is it your uncle that you love and still care about? Then you have the invested reason to care enough to talk to him. Maybe show him a video you like and see him as a person. But as long as we're talking hypothetical harm and these hypothetical harmful people that we need to punish because they're bad. What did they do? Who was harmed and how? Is it a person who
Yeah.
did a bad thing that we need to
Yeah.
acknowledge? Or is it just this idea of millions of
And
people?
that's why I can't give a satisfactory answer to them. And that's why yours and my idea of how to break brainwashing is different. Because when people are like, they're like, okay, so how do we get people out of cults?
Mhm,
It's like their people are concepts, right? Like
mhm.
you can't kill a concept. You can't get someone to stop believing in something until they want to.
And just, like,
And
this blanket
the
thing that would
answer
just work for all people?
yeah, exactly. And like the answer is you have to know them as a person
Yep.
and it's going to be different for every person.
That's exactly, and that's why when people ask me general questions about, like, what it's like, I don't know you and what your privileges are for how you can help us. That's literally the point. No one could have told me that I could do this work. Only I knew I could do it because of my experiences, but my privileges, my traumas, my privileges, my unique set of skills, not special, unique set, but none of my individual experiences are unique and on their own, you know? But it's seeing humans and seeing each person as a person, and you're not just dealing with y'all aren't even talking to these people. And I think, like I said, people seek solutions instead of accept answers. And why that's kind of why it's been hard for me to figure out like what am I doing? But I
Yeah.
do think the do's and don'ts will be good because it's like got some of that stuff. Like accept the answers, don't seek solutions because we're not problems to solve. We're not math.
And I think the appearance control comes into this so heavy. Because if you think about, right? Like if I think about white women, it's just a blur of people. If I think about like
Mhm.
abstract white women that I don't know, it's just everyone looks the same.
Mhm.
If I think
It's
about a group of
designer.
black women that I don't know, I don't feel like everybody looks the same.
Nope.
Like everybody looks
Nope.
very, very different. And that's like
And we don't have to
part of
choose
it.
one.
That's like
Yeah.
the fear of standing out. And it just always comes back to like the fear of being an individual,
Hmm.
being
Yeah.
individual, the fear of having even, you know, this Jasmine Crockett thing. I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, being
Now
individual,
I
but
have to
also
have
like
these real conversations with people about like, what are
yeah,
we really doing? Who are we really voting for? Like, people don't want to have real conversations. They want
that's
to
what I'm
not
saying.
stand out.
They're
They wanna
so
not have a
scared.
hot take, and,
Right.
like,
Well, they also think they're gonna be the only one. So that's what's interesting is because, like, I would s so, like, I'm colorful right now, I would stand out, but, like, I'm not alone. You forget other people exist too. So, Christina and I don't look similarly at all, but she would stand out on her own, I would stand out on my own. But together, maybe we both stand out together. That's not really the point. I don't it's not a center of attention. That's not a thing that exists. But I think in whiteness, there is a center of attention because it's like you're like, "Who can be the shiniest ball?" And we're over here, like, being a tree, you know? Like, that's we're doing different stuff, and you guys are all like, "But who's the shiniest? Who gets chosen at the most round spherical" I don't know. My analogies are all over the place today, but that's it's being also aware that other people exists. One of my mutuals, white woman who's, like, been following me a long time, Mel Hamlet, which who I love, made posts about, you know, women in Hollywood and men and, sometimes these men really hate these women and they display it in these weird ways, and she critiques it, and a big Disney princess type white woman came for her and in her comments going back at her celebrity, like, big, celebrity, and she had messaged me saying, like, how proud she was that she didn't defend herself or whatever, and really, the community understood her point, and, the way you expect people to react is not the way they always react, especially if you have community, and so, where she got a little nervous, but she just kinda stuck I don't like the phrase "stuck to your guns," but it's, like, all I can think, but it's, like, the only one that really
stuck to her
anyway,
principles.
her principles. Yeah, but it's like forming them. You don't know your principles until you have to stick to them. And, yeah, it was nice that, she mentioned, like, I was so proud of myself, but people do come in and no, especially when black women can see your stuff, you'll be fine, but it is unfortunate how
Well, I mean, that's what I'm having in the conversation right now. Like, I did not know that Jasmine Crockett voted on this Israel thing, but I do know that I think I share her values, and I think I want her to be a leader in my country. 'Cause she's one of the ones that I've seen. And then
yeah,
in just a little bit of feedback, it was white women saying, "Ew, she voted for Israel," and black women saying, "Thank you for standing up for."
like that's a lot. Those are different things, and, like, that's what people choose to say. So it's not just that this is sentiment, right? Black women are actively commenting, and that's such a like, we don't just talk for no reason. To say, "Thank you for saying something," what I'm saying is white women's voice, it matters, and when you use it matters, and look at how they're using it. in your you when you say something and Black women are supportive, here they come going, "The nerve of these men of women." But that's why it goes that way, and it's frustrating and, obviously not all, whatever, but only white women. So while it's not all, it's only. So who's gonna do something about it? Because clearly look what happens when we try. And I think that's what's so disheartening for me is because 'cause I'm just like, "Ooh, I hate the walls it makes you build up before you just say anything."
Yeah, and not for nothing, like, I had a conversation with a Black woman veteran and who's higher ranking than me, and I said, "Oh my gosh, you should write the book. I would help you." And, she's not interested because being that public face,
Yeah.
we see what they do to you, imagine what they would do to
Yeah.
by you, I meant
And,
me,
like, imagine having
imagine
to
what they would do
defend
to
that.
her.
Yeah. I get it completely. And a lot of that was my traumages and my privileges of not interacting with this type of patriarchal feminism, which I found I like that phrase. I read in All About Love for my book club this last month. Um, Patriarchal feminism, where you're like,
Trying to get to the top.
for the good, right? For the good of be more like men, it's respectability politics for women. It's all that where I'm not used to that. And so now
Mhm.
I wanna tell white women about it, but it's like, then you argue with me and you go, "Well, so I had posted saying, white women do this," and they said someone commented, "White women correct other white women too," because I was like, "All you guys do is correct
Why?
Black women or commiserate with white women, blah, 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 blah." And I'm like and they're
Yeah,
like,
but,
"Well,
like,
they also
why
correct white women." So you're correcting me about why are you talking?
I call this mansplaining the mansplaining, but I
Right, right, but then they're following me, and they're, like, on my side, blah, 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 right? And I'm just like, I don't I'm you guys are making me crazy. So I feel like I'll feel more sane if I do the waiting room do's and don'ts, and it's like a little pamphlet, "This is what we are gonna do if we're not do," before you're allowed to come into the next phase, and into the room because you can't come in thinking you or even that you're gonna learn about Blackness or about Black women. No, you're gonna learn from Black women, but they're not in that place. They're like,
need to
"We're
learn
going to
about
decide
white
about."
women.
Yeah, and, like, talk about whiteness, talk about your race, talk about how in your comments, this is what only white women do this. I didn't know, you know? And then I tell them about it, and they're like, "Well, we do this to each other too." Great. So stop.
Why?
Stop it. Stop. Why are you arguing with me about this? It's like, ah, we could you have so much energy. And so when I talk about the angel tree thing, it's like all this morality and energy into gifting and performing goodness around this time of year and giving the way you're giving it. But what if you didn't? What if this all made no sense and you didn't have to, and the kids are actually fine? It's like
Yeah.
speaking for the kid that other thing is like the thing I was saying about angel trees is like you're speaking for these children. They didn't how did they decide on this list of things? Did their parents write the list? The parent has to fill out the form. Are they gonna now guilt this kid because they went to angel like, I'm thinking about the children. Y'all are performing. I don't know what this is. I think Christmas might be bad for you guys, but it feels like this is the good time of year, and this is when we're all really nice to each other. Jeez, this is it? But no, gifts don't have to be this way, and I've understood gifts differently, like, I don't know, but the when and who and this attitude control, I feel like it goes down to that
It's what it
stuff,
is.
like who
It's
you're
the
speaking
attitude
for,
control. It's the there's
moral
even drama
superior.
about whether you say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. Like, it's just and, like,
The
it's
oppression! The oppression! People wanna say something else?
it's like and look, I get it. There are white people that refuse to say happy holidays and will only say Merry Christmas because they're Christian nationalist racists, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes. But then we get like in my family, we are atheist liberals, and we say Merry Christmas because we are cultural Christians. That's just where we come from. That's what we do. We both try to say Happy Holidays more and more, but it's like there's a policing of what another person is saying that is just
Why
very
people care this much.
interesting to observe at
That's
this time.
that's so like, that's only why people have the time and energy to care about what other
About
people
that.
say. I
Yeah.
say nothing. No part of me has ever been like, because I don't associate times of year with things. I still don't understand that if you like pumpkin spice, you can only have it certain times a year. That doesn't even make any sense. White people, what is wrong? Sorry, I'm not whispering. It's just like, but I get so it's I can't, because it's not like it only exists during that time of year. If you like it, you like it. What is with the scheduling of fun?
Exists at Starbucks.
It was the red cups and the happy holiday. I literally don't care. People say Merry Christmas, and I go, "Oh, oh, thanks." I don't know. I don't think about it for more than the second. I'm like, "Well, that's weird." It's cultural coercion. I've lived here my whole life. Fine. There's other things I'm more concerned
Yeah.
about, to be honest, like
It's I
police
was gonna say,
brutality.
because it goes much deeper than that. Like, I'm sure you would like the anti-Semitism in the United States to be removed, not just for people to say Happy Hanukkah, like
Right, right,
it
and
is
also
it is
Hanukkah.
that doing that tiniest little bit to put a Band-Aid on it instead of like,
Right. I would rather people also just keep your honestly, they could just keep their stuff to themselves. We don't care. Like, Jewish people keep our stuff to ourselves. We do our things on our time. Like, it's the that's why Christianity is like has to be discussed itself, because nobody rebrands from doing bad stuff and becomes Jewish. Like we said, like they usually rebrand and become Christian because one is easy in, and they just I'm it now. I'm reading the Bible. They don't even have to, because now people are like, oh,
too,
they might
because
be good.
it's
Right?
dominant in
So that
America.
the whole Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays thing, that's very culty. It's very colonizing, because just talk like a normal person. Hello, goodbye. Why do we have to be like, happy this day, happy Mother's Day, happy Father's Day? Why don't we just shut up? Just live your own day. Sorry, but that's just
No, it's
I've
great.
that's
You bring up so many things that I've never thought about, which is, of course, why we do this.
yeah, that's true.
Super, super interesting. Thanks for I need the waiting room list of do's and don'ts because I
Okay,
think it's
yeah.
gonna be super important as we go forward from here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I've been working on it, so that'll be also coming up. But between the book club and the do's and don'ts, I was like, we're gonna work on some slowing down things. So I'm like, okay, we need it.
Let's
But
listen.
that was
Yeah.
you brought up really good points too, especially with the MAGA of it all and the white people and like, yeah, you gotta be specific. Make it about your race. When I say make it about race, they think it's like make it about black trauma.
Yeah.
No, you've got your own. Like, this is the time
We've
to make
got
it
our
about
own
you.
stuff to talk about. Yeah. I'm learning how to do it all the time. So I appreciate your help. Thank you all so much for listening. Please follow Rebecca on her Patreon, and you can gift a subscription to a friend that you would like to have real conversations with about
Oh,
whiteness and all of this. Thanks
so
so
fun.
much.